yet. I thought you said for sure you'd hear something today.
Well, the tests have been taken, the samples are in hematology being analyzed right now.
Well, I'm on pins and needles. I can't imagine what you must be feeling.
Yeah, we've been waiting about a month now. It's come down to the time where we got to get some good results, if we get any at all.
Do you want me to come down to the hospital and wait?
No, I appreciate the offer, kiddo, but it's not necessary, really.
I don't know. Maybe this is the time neither one of us should be alone.
Well, I probably shouldn't have even called you in the first. It was my intention to wind the spring.
No. I'm glad you did. Listen, what was it you said to me before about Derek Mallory?
Oh, I was in his office earlier. I just wanted to warn you that I mentioned what you said about Nancy, and he was very interested. I wouldn't be surprised if he called you.
Well, obviously he is interested. He has called, and he's on his way over here now.
Well, he's trying to do everything he can, I guess.
Yeah, well, I've warned him he might be wasting his time.
Well, there are times that we just grasp at straws, aren't there?
Yeah, I guess we both know what that's all about. You'll get the lab reports back.
Oh, I don't know. Should be soon. I'll be sure to call you if there's anything to call about, okay?
Thanks.
Goodbye, kiddo.
I hope I haven't inconvenienced you by setting up this meeting on such short notice.
No, not at all. But if I seem a little distracted, I apologize. It's because my mind is elsewhere.
Monticello General?
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll understand.
Well, then I'll try to be as brief as possible.
What do you want to know?
Miles told me you had a conversation with Nancy Carr just before she left for San Francisco.
Yes, I did.
Well, would you tell me about this conversation?
Well, I'm not so sure there's much to tell. The topic was quite personal.
I don't mean to pry. Whatever you tell me will be kept in the strictest of confidence.
It's just that I don't think it was pertinent to the problem at hand.
I need to know, April. I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth for you. I'm desperate for leads, and I'm staring at a blank wall.
I just don't want to waste your time, Chief.
Please. Please let me be the judge of that. What you consider insignificant could turn out to be the one detail I need.
All right. Nancy Carr was aware that I was having personal problems involving Emily Michaels. That is what we spoke about.
Go on, please.
When Draper regained his memory, I thought for sure that Emily Michaels would accept the reality of the situation and quietly fade out of our lives.
I gather that hasn't happened.
Quite the opposite. She has continued to make her presence quite known to us.
All right, I can see where that would be an awkward situation.
Yes, rather than back off, she even went ahead and took an apartment in this building just 10 floors below.
How does Nancy fit into all of this?
Well, she wanted to help.
How?
Well, she thought that possibly by doing a little investigating, she might learn a little bit more about Emily's motives.
Now, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
She thought she could learn a little bit more about Emily by asking questions at the hospital, for instance.
And that's all?
Yeah, well, I warned you it wasn't much.
Well, if that was her objective, I don't see how it would relate to her disappearance.
Especially since Nancy went ahead and went to San Francisco.
Emily Mikes is still in Monticello?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry to say. She's probably right downstairs in her little apartment.
All right, so I doubt that she would be involved since Nancy didn't disappear until after she arrived in San Francisco.
I'm sorry if I sent you down a dead end.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's worth a shot, and I appreciate your cooperation. I guess I better be going.
I don't suppose there's anything you can tell me about the investigation.
I wish I could. Things are still going on as before out west, but with the same negative results. Thank you.
You're welcome. wondered if I told him everything.
Well, somebody fathered Emily's child, and if it wasn't Trevor, it had to. It had to have happened while she was in the hospital.
Seems so unlikely to me, to say the least.
If you don't object, I'm going to ask some questions, see what I can find out. All right?
I wonder if she ever went to the hospital. One way to find out. Oh, yes. I wonder if you can put me through to the Hathaway Pavilion, please. I'd like to speak with a Dr. Barnes.
The San Francisco report that even though the search for Nancy Carr, the Monticello newsperson who disappeared mysteriously 5 days ago, had been widened to cover an area reaching from Sacramento to Monterey, no leads have come to light. And this one's from Chicago. One detective assigned to the case has been quoted as saying that after this amount of time, the odds of finding Mrs. Carr alive are pretty long. Remind me to stick to the funnies.
With each edition, gets worse.
Wonder how Mike is bearing up.
Do you have to ask?
This strain has got to be incredible.
I'm going to call him.
Hey, wait, don't be so quick to get that dial tone.
Why?
I know you want to provide moral support, but it's not even 8 a.m. in San Francisco.
Look at those stories, Cliff. Do you honestly think we're going to be waking you?
Beautiful day in a beautiful city. The sun is shining. People are on their way to work. All's right with the world. But something is wrong. Very wrong. Oh, God. Nancy. Nancy, where are you?
Hardly touched your food, Mrs. Carr. You ought to try it. I mean, the food ain't bad here. For hospital food, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay, ham and eggs don't send you. How about I get you some oatmeal tomorrow? How's that? Look, lady, if you're trying to pull a hunger strike or something like that, it won't do you a damn bit of good. We'll feed you intravenously. Fine, you don't want to eat, you don't want to eat. Don't do me any favors. It's wrap-up time, Mrs. Carr. Sit up.
Oh, no. No. No.
Don't fight with me.
Oh, no, don't.
I'm not in the mood.
Don't do that. Don't.
You really think you're doing the right thing by staying out in San Francisco?
Well, the time has passed since I'm able to be of any help to the police, but I just feel since Nancy's here, I should be too. Maybe you ought to think about coming home. Maybe. Like, at least your friends are here. Yeah.
I guess that's a decision you have to make on your own. Look, keep it going now. Maybe someone's trying to get in touch with you.
Okay, thanks for calling, Draper. I really appreciate hearing from you. Give my best to April and to Cliff.
Hello, Draper.
Emily.
He was
receptionist must be out for coffee or something. But the door's open, so
What do you want?
I just dropped in to say hello. I thought maybe you and I could pop down to a coffee shop and talk for a little while.
We have nothing to talk about.
Don't be so offish. We can come here to you.
Your coming here bothers me.
I just went to see Dr. Jastrow. I thought maybe you would like to know how your baby is doing.
I'm really very busy, Emily.
I can see you have lots of very important matters to see to, but maybe you could spare 5 minutes. Or don't you care about your baby?
All right, Emily. How is he?
There, you see, you care about me, old softy. You called the baby he. You really do want a son, don't you? Well, that's just fine.
Just give me the medical report and make it short.
Draper Jr. is doing just fine.
Glad to hear it.
And so am I. I'm doing fine myself. Dr. Jastrow said that I should be able to carry completely to term without any problems.
You wouldn't have any problems if you left me alone.
You know, when Dr. Jastrow was examining me, he used a stethoscope. I heard the baby's tiny little heartbeats. Oh, Draper, he let me listen, too. It was the most exciting moment of my entire life.
I'll bet.
Listen, I want you to come to my next checkup so you can hear the heartbeats, too.
No, Emily, I don't think you better count on that.
Draper, these are experiences that young couples like us should share.
Emily, you excuse me, I'm really very busy. You can see your own way out.
Draper, something very important happened today. Aren't you happy for me? For us?
Hello, Sleeping Beauty.
If it isn't Prince Charming. What brings you to these parts, sir?
I love you, Nicole. I'm sorry I had to wake you up.
Oh, no, it's all right. I was really having a nice dream, though. I was sailing. Blue lake. So beautiful. You were there. So was Adam.
Well, there's no reason that the three of us couldn't go up to Palmer Lake this summer. Make that dream come true, if you like.
Have you heard something?
The test we did this morning, Nicole. The trat is working. You're going into remission.
My God.
The marrow's starting to seed itself. Your body has accepted Jody's contribution.
We won the bet.
Won't be long before your own supply of marrow has replenished itself completely.
I knew I was feeling better.
Yeah, well, this kind of thing doesn't take long. It's very rapid. You should be feeling stronger every day.
And I'm going to live.
Happily ever after. For a long, long time.
Oh, you're such a miracle. It's a miracle. You know, I was so afraid that I'd never see Adam again. And that...
See Adam, you're going to see him graduate from college. You're going to see him get married after. You're going to be a beautiful grandmother.
Please don't make me old before my time.
Sorry.
And I'm not going to have to leave you. You know? I think that's what made me most afraid.
How could they break us apart? It's such a perfect couple.
I know. My sentiments, too.
We are going to have to be prepared for a slightly longer separation.
But why? You can come in here every day now, and I'm going to be going home soon.
Well, it's just that you won't be going home, not directly.
Well, why? You told me that I'm getting well.
Well, you are, but this is, you know, it's a serious illness, sweetheart. It takes a little time to recover.
Oh, well, I'll take my vitamins every day, I promise.
You can't just bounce out of bed, you know, and go back to business as usual. You got to give yourself time to recuperate.
I suppose it's reasonable.
And considering the kind of winter that we're having out here in Monticello, Dr. Stewart has suggested that once your counts are up high enough that you go off to someplace that's nice and warm to convalesce.
Sunny island in the Caribbean. Sounds terrific as long as you're on the beach right next to me.
Oh, you know I'd love nothing better, but that's not possible.
Oh, but why? You need just as much as I.
Oh, now, don't you start bugging me about that. Oh, Dr. Stewart knows of this fine post-operative clinic in Key West. Suit your needs to a T, maybe even a golf tee when you've got enough energy.
I don't want to be away from you anymore.
Look, I will come down as many long weekends as I can. You will be back before you know it.
I want us to be together. And when I'm home, we'll never be apart anymore, right?
You'd have to use a crowbar to get us apart.
All right, then. I guess I'll obey doctor's orders. You guys haven't done too bad for me so far. I'm so happy. I've been given a new life.
So have I.
I appreciate your seeing me on such short notice, Doctor.
Well, you said it was important, Mrs. Scott. If I can be of any help to you, I'm more than happy to do it.
Thank you. Yes, the reason I came here was because I wanted to know if in the beginning of the week or the end of last week, perhaps, you might have met with a woman named Nancy Carr.
Yes. As a matter of fact, we did have a consultation of sorts here just last week.
Was Emily Michaels the topic of conversation?
That's correct. However, Mrs. Carr gave me no indication that you were aware of her inquiry.
Oh, yes. Well, I wonder if you could tell me what you talked about.
Well, her question seemed to center around Emily Michaels' lifestyle during the time that she was a patient here at the Hathaway.
Well, did you get specific?
Well, Mrs. Carr seemed to be interested in knowing with whom Emily might have been in contact during the time she was here.
Is it a long list?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, apart from the hospital staff, I believe you and your husband and the late Molly Sherwood were Emily's only visitors.
And you told this to Mrs. Carr?
Mm-hmm. That's right. However, she seemed particularly curious as to whether Emily had formed any particular male friendships.
Well, had she?
Mrs. Scott, Emily Michaels displayed all the typical symptoms of her condition, which is as much as to say she did not have much interaction with other people. However, there was one person whom I might reluctantly qualify as a friend.
Well, who was that?
Well, it was the person who was responsible for her unauthorized departure from the hospital. It was an orderly, a man named Sharky.
Did you tell Mrs. Carr this?
Yes.
Well, did she meet and speak with the man?
I have no idea.
Well, is it possible for me to meet with... What did you say his name was again?
Matthew Sharky. And I'm sorry, Mrs. Scott, but I can't just call him into the office. As soon as I discovered that he was guilty of collaborating with a patient in an unauthorized departure, I had him fired immediately. And believe me, he didn't do Emily any favors. Mrs. Michaels was not and is not ready to cope with the outside world.
Well, it just so happens, Doctor, that I agree with you wholeheartedly. Do you have any idea how I might contact this Mr. Sharky?
Well, that was Mrs. Carr's question, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you the same answer. The best I can do is to provide you with his most recent address. Would you like to have it?
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
There you go, Mrs. Carr, a work of art. You know, if they ever make another movie about the mummy, you should audition for it. You'd get the part in a second.
Thank it, Lucy. It's
comfortable.
Think pleasant thoughts, Mrs. Carr, and it won't bother you so much.
It's hard to breathe. I can't talk.
You'll get used to it.
Why is it necessary?
Yours is not the reason why, Mrs. Carr. We're doing you a favor. We want to keep you nice and safe.
I was nice and safe before I came here.
These bandages are for your protection, believe me.
So, there you are.
What do you want?
The doctor wants to see you. I'll look after the patient.
It's time for my break.
The doctor said no, Sharky.
Now, you behave yourself, Mrs. Carr. Because I'll be back to check up on you.
This is Dave Reitman. Henry Winkler tells us about his new career behind cameras, and Peter O'Toole joins us tomorrow on Good Morning America.
There's a special lineup tomorrow night on ABC. First, on 8 is Enough, the Bradfords are stunned by Janet's split up. And then on Vegas, Dan Tana cracks open a sex extortion racket, followed by a special edition of Three's Company.